I'll just cut this bit out. I'll just cut this bit out. Oh, there we are. There's an echo though, so whoever's.
I don't know why it's coming out of. Hang on.
Mute that before I have to hear the sound of my own voice.
Sorted it. No,
right.
it was me. I'd not put my audio the right way around.
There we go.
Right. Well, let's bring ourselves back. Let's calm ourselves for what is about to unfold. You're probably wondering what we're doing back, and well, it's because the multiverse is in pain. Experiencing the pain of Silshard's demise and everything that means for Howl, his warlock patron, best friend, quasi-real boy, sibling, I guess, being now a pile of ash in Jarlaxle safekeeping, Génie's lamp being completely and utterly destroyed by several delayed blast fireballs, possibly placed there as part of a wider conspiracy to discredit, destroy, demean, devalue them as heroes, and the fact that Oriana's late fiancé may have been murdered as part of the same conspiracy. The multiverse unable to endure so much pain as we find our heroes in a Zentarim safe house somewhere in Kalimport, where they have retreated away from the Open Lord of Waterdeep, Ranulf Ilvaster, replacing their former patron, Laurel Silverhand, in a coup now out for blood. You're all having supper one evening, a day or so perhaps after we last left off, when across the middle of the table, blue light begins to crack the air. These cracks, almost like electricity, begin to get more rapid, to get more violent, until swirling in the middle of the air is a ball of lightning. The lightning, getting louder, begins to almost crack apart the fabric of reality. A crack like you would see in a wall appears in the air and begins to get wider and wider and wider until there is a huge flash of blue light. When the light subsides and your vision unclears, there is, standing on the table, boots in food, a tiefling. Would our guest like to explain what this tiefling looks like, and indeed who this tiefling is?
So this tiefling is the one and only Kazire, come over from Adavar, another world, and he's sort of swooping fringe over one eye, the classic tiefling horns, and he's got almost jade emerald armor, big plate armor, with a big shield with a K on it, and he's got his sun sword by his side as well, sheathed as of now, but we'll see how things go. And yeah, that's Kazire really.
Génie, who is there with you still, but lurking in the kitchen, pops his head round the corner and says, hello, Kazire. I am sorry that we have not had time to send you the franchise fee and the rent, and we should probably tell you that the building is gone.
That is problematic. I come because I felt some form of disturbance among my employees, and I thought I should come and check on it myself, seeing as we're kind of scrambled back home currently.
Well, how about you sit down, wipe the cake off your boots, and I'm sure my colleagues will be able to discuss it with you. I will make you a wonderful meal. I know our interdimensional multiversal traveling can make one very unwell. I shall bring you something with garlic in it. Yes. And Génie goes off into the kitchen.
Everything you cook has garlic in it, Génie.
I heard that.
It's true.
Kazire will look down to notice that his boots indeed are in people's food. He'll sort of pick one up, shake it off. He's more put out by the fact that his boots are dirty than he stood in someone's food, and he'll make his way off the table.
Hal's going to look up at Kazire getting off the table and say, well, thank you very much for stepping out of my food. Well, given that the lamp's gone, we don't have any taxes to pay you or anything like that, if that's what you're here for.
Well, a disturbance of the kind I felt isn't necessarily just for tax purposes, but I thought I'd come and check on it anyway. How are we all anyway? The last time I saw you, you were dead.
Yeah, I got better, it's fine. We're still going through it, though. Just less dead.
Less dead, but out of a home, so...
Yeah, I don't suppose you and the, I guess with Mortimer probably gone, I don't know if you can just give us enough money for a new house. If you felt like it, that'd be a big help right now, though. We are sort of, newly homeless.
I'll see what I can do. Last time I was here, I seem to remember building some form of church, and we'll check on that later, I'm sure.
That's not... Yeah, it's not important right now, actually. Well, anyway, we're kind of in a bit of a situation, just... in general. I don't suppose that's exactly why you came, or was there something else in particular you wanted to do?
Well, describe the situation, and maybe I can do something about it.
Hal's gonna do a nervous kind of and then turn to slowly look at Oriana.
Well, we're out of a home. 2 major cities hate us. Everyone wants our head. Make of that what you will.
It just seems like a casual Tuesday, am I right? And we'll try and pause for a laugh.
Oriana just gives him a deadpan look.
Hal's gonna grimace and say, yeah, and to make matters worse, Silshard's gone and stuck in the abyss, I think, or something. But either way, I've lost most of my juice.
That does seem quite the pickle. Is there anything I can do right now?
There's a very brief moment where Hal goes, in his head, thinks to himself, I am out of power at the moment and without a patron. Kazire's kind of godlike. What if? And then immediately he's like, no, that's not the way this needs to go.
I still have this, by the way, and I'll pull out the staff, and tap it on the floor, and the masked lord's garb will flow over me.
That's actually pretty useful, maybe.
True. Depends
can
on
you
how
pardon
much
us?
sway.
Do we know all... Sorry, go on.
No, you go.
Do we know all how... Obviously the Masked Lords being anonymous, basically members of a sort of parliament type thing. Do we know how closely knit the Masked Lords and the Open Lord would be? Do we think there's any chance that a Masked Lord would be able to get any extra information out of Ranulph that we don't already have?
Not outside of the council, because you're only supposed to wear the robes in the council chamber. That's the problem. And no one knowing the idea. Well, it's there are rumours as to who the Masked Lords are, but without kind of hoping that Ranulph knows Kazire or is willing to entertain the idea of getting more information, that could be difficult. Alternatively, the Council of the Masked Lords do have the power to summon the Open Lord to give an account of what's going on in the city.
Literal summon? Like magically summon them?
Well, they can compel the Masked Lord, the Open Lord to attend.
You tell me that Kazire could send out a bat signal and summon Ranulph into this very closed-in room we have right now?
No, not quite. Only to the council chamber, I'm afraid. Because it will occur to you as well that looking down at these 3 individuals, that even Alec, who is dead, is looking quite sad and burdened. It does look as though Oriana and Howl have been reduced to tears recently, and that they may just need someone to listen to them.
Kazire will wave his hands to try and conjure a comfy chair to sit in. I'm getting to grips with these new god powers.
Make an Arcana check. For conjure psychiatrist couch.
16.
Summon check.
Okay. So you do manage to summon something, but it's a beanbag.
Classic.
Amazing.
Pull up a beanbag. I'll sort of push it into the corner with my foot, freshly puddinged, and sort of invite whoever wants to sit down and chat to sit down.
Well, you couldn't summon more beanbags?
Well, I'll give it a go. I'll try and summon another beanbag.
There are
Make an Arcana
armchairs
check.
and such in this room, right, though?
Yeah, of course there are.
11.
Yeah, Oriana is very much draped over one.
With an 11, you summon a child's chair, as you would see at like a dining room or kitchen playset.
Frog chair.
I'll
like a high chair.
I'll take that one. Let's try and punch down on it slightly. It is full plate armor.
Hal will kind of look at the beanbag, look at whatever other chair, horrible chair, because it has conjured, and then we'll sit down solemnly on the sofa, which I'm sure that we have. I'm going to turn to Kazire and say, well, yeah, I mean, you get the picture. Things are a little rough here right now. But, I mean, to tell you the truth, I'm pretty interested in how things have been on your end. We haven't seen you in, what, months at least? Maybe getting towards a year now? Last we saw, things were pretty dire. What's the situation on your end?
Things are still pretty dire, I can't lie. Following Mort's betrayal, the party sort of fractured slightly, and they all went off to their own places to process things how they want to process them. I felt as the only sort of being out of the party besides Mort that's capable of traveling across dimensions, that I'd sort of take control of the business. I can be rather persuasive when I want to be. And yeah, things from my end have just been about making sure the business runs smoothly, obviously gaining more followers by the day, but that's neither here nor there. You know these things. But yeah, I honestly, I don't know what the other party members are up to nowadays.
Hal kind of like goes like a, I mean, that's kind of sad, I suppose, but fair enough. And there's been no sign of Mort since, that happened.
Nothing since then, unfortunately. I've had my followers listening out. I mean, I have ears everywhere, but again, neither here nor there. Yes, no, nothing so far, unfortunately. Well, I'm sure we'll find once he surfaces, but he must be licking his wounds.
Hal kind of like stares into like the carpet and looks very, very troubled, as if considering something. And then we'll be like, And if Mort didn't turn up again, how would you feel about that?
I feel people like Ma were closer to him, but
It's
be
just
sad to lose a friend.
I mean, I can't really confirm any of my own suspicions or anything, but after what I did during that whole debacle, whatever I did, I still don't fully understand, but I kind of just tried to do everything I could to use my own power to just remove Tartarus from the situation entirely. I can't help but wonder if Mort being able to sort of, travel through dimensions and maybe time or whatever it was Mort was doing, part of me suspects maybe he's still running from whatever I did, if that's still something that's chasing him through wherever he goes to. Part of me thinks maybe if he ever stops, I don't know. I don't want to be responsible for the death of your friend, even if they did become something terrible, but there's a chance. I don't know. It's just a theory.
I mean, let's hope he never stops then.
Yeah. Well, that being the case, have you thought about checking in with a chapel or a church you opened in Waterdeep?
You know, I was coming to check on you guys first, but I can't lie and say that I didn't want to check on how successful I've been over here as well.
It's just that a lot of our problems at the moment seem to be tied to various authority figures, and I know I've said before that, I've chastised you for expanding rapidly, we'll say. It's just that if there ever was a time where you wanted to, I don't know, expand rapidly, now wouldn't be a bad time. Given your status as still, a Masked Lord of Waterdeep, technically, if a little unofficially. I mean, the current Open Lords are kind of a dirtbag. Or seems like it, at least, if you catch what I'm saying.
Well, I feel first we need to get to Waterdeep, and the current climate I felt might be more difficult than it seems. But if I can reach out to some of my followers, if there are any here, and let's be honest, there will be plenty, potentially we can see what we can do about the Open Lord.
It's, well, I'm pretty confident I can speak for everyone else here at the moment. I say if we were to go back to Waterdeep, I don't think we'd be welcomed very much. Although if you do have a network of followers and could find out how active the Waterdavian Guard are being at pursuing us, then that'd be great.
I just sort of go into a corner quietly and just listen in and try and hear the potential prayers of followers.
You hear the very ardent, fervent prayer of one follower.
Great. I just hope he's louder than the rest. What's it saying?
This particular prayer is for this person is called John, and John is praying for whatever is going on in Waterdeep to calm down, and he's longing for the day that you make your glorious return in power.
Oh my god.
You know, guys, I've had a bit of an epiphany, and I reckon we travel to Waterdeep, and we'll go check in on John.
I mean, that was kind of a quick turnaround, because you sure did just walk into a corner, have what appeared to be a very intense headache, and then tell us we're going back to Waterdeep. Do you understand we're wanted probably dead or alive?
Yeah, but you know, when you've got followers, you've got power, people typically tend to let things slide.
Followers?
This is true. Out of the kitchen, eating a slice of garlic bread is Thomas Blackwood.
I'm gonna whip around and do a 180 and say, Uncle, do you ever pay for your own food? I've never seen you pay for your own food.
He ignores you completely and walks up to Kazire and holds out his hand to shake.
Kazire will check if there's any foods or dirt on his hands.
The hands appear clean.
Kazire will shake the hand.
He says, Kazire, god of Adavar, former hero of Crisis, I assume.
The one and only.
How are things going? I heard Marsbar stopped trading in Vorchester.
What do you mean you heard? That's another reality. What do you mean you heard?
Where have you
turns
heard this?
He turns around and says, I make it my business to know exactly what's going on in all dimensions.
You don't make it your business to pay for your own food. How interesting.
He blanks you, turns back to Kazire, and says, they're right, however. Getting them back into Waterdeep would be problematic.
You must have a way, though, with the people you keep.
I think the Zentarim are a little too wanted at the moment. The Masked Lord the Open Lord rather, has taken it upon himself to try to diminish all forms of network activity in Waterdeep, something to do with conspiring with these heroes, and he vaguely gestures in the direction of the party. He then says, I think you'll have a better chance. That temple of yours, I'm afraid to say, isn't doing particularly well, but a sudden growth of followers of an obscure god at this time isn't really going to cause any particular distractions.
I guess if those followers happen to dress up in, I don't know, some form of garb that obscured their faces, that also could be pretty useful right now.
Well, quite. And if they were to be completely subservient to their god, no one would bat an eyelid.
Is there a sort of village around us?
Yes, you're in a city.
Okay. Kazire would like to just go outside, summon his griffin.
Yep.
And start flying around, calling the city to the town square, the city square. Do they have a square?
Okay.
The moment, when Kazir does this, I want to look out the window and be like, well, so much for keeping a low profile.
Well, you can't really expect Kazire to do anything else, can you? Says Thomas.
I heard that.
Thomas turns to you all while Kazire is flying around and says, I've made some initial inquiries. It appears that Ranulf Ilvaster tomorrow is to present a motion to the Council of the Masked Lords to run a referendum in Waterdeep on barring adventurers from ever setting foot in the city, dismantling all forms of adventurous sponsorship that the various watchful orders and adventuring companies have, and to declare you four persona non grata.
What a foolish thing to do. How much of Waterdavian culture and how much Waterdavian commerce is based on adventuring alone?
Almost all of it. I'm not entirely sure what he's thinking or where he'll find any extra money, but as everything in this, something doesn't feel right.
At this point, I'm starting to think he's going to sell the whole city to Queen Raedra.
Possibly. Or to someone else, or something else. One never knows with someone like Ranulf Ilvaster, who no one knows. That's the problem.
At what point do we have justification just to simply take him out of the picture? Because I'm getting very sick of each development of his being, well, not only egregious towards us, but outright stupid. It seems like he's shooting himself in the foot.
He very clearly has no clue what he's doing. That makes him dangerous. Taking him out is an option. I can have the network.
Too big of a power vacuum.
Well,
This is true. Better the devil you know.
Hal's going to turn towards the kitchen, where Génie is probably still cooking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And say, yeah, better the devil you know. What if we, I don't know, I mean, forgive me for suggesting wild things, but Génie's quite a, diplomat, and before this whole debacle was fairly well respected, I suppose, maybe? I don't know, I feel like Génie could do well with a political kind of angle. If not Kazire, but again, you know, that could turn this into more of a different situation.
Are you suggesting that you install Génie as Open Lord of Waterdeep?
All I'm saying is maybe you know, be it Génie, be it someone else, the devil you know is a very good point. If Laurel Silverhand, who seems to do a very good job, isn't a viable candidate again, then look, we have people like, you know, maybe I'm biased, but, you know, Cassius or Génie, or sorry, Dan's just disappeared on camera. Is anyone else seeing that? Dan's apparated.
That's all right. Carry on.
Disappeared into the void.
Hal will continue saying, again, be it Génie or be it Cassius or someone else, even Kazire, frankly, I don't think it'd be entirely corrupt to, well, put someone we know to be a good person in power if we could do such a thing. We're certainly not going to be allowed in otherwise, so I don't know.
Génie appears from the kitchen and says, "It is true. Better the devil you know, but the devil I know is one I am tired of dancing with, and then walks back into the kitchen.
What an eloquent thing Génie just said.
How exactly would we go about installing Génie as Open Lord of Waterdeep? I mean, murdering Ranulf Ilvaster, that we can get away with probably. I mean, moral element of deposing the... He was elected by the Masked Lords, right? That's how the Open Lord gets...
Yeah.
So we'd technically be deposing the elected leader of a government that we were accused of killing not 24 hours ago. So...
I suppose the question would be, does anyone actually like Ranulf? Do we know what the public opinion of Ranulf is like?
The leader of the Watchful Order likes him because they're obviously
like
sleeping together.
Well, yeah, but they're clearly fucking each other. That doesn't count.
I am not going to get into the fact that you don't actually need to like someone to for that to be a factor.
Well,
but
true, but in this case, right?
I mean, she could be the one using him. Ranulf is an idiot.
Well, I mean, all I'm...
She's relatively smart. As much as I
Maybe.
loathe to admit it.
I mean, hey, all I'm saying is there's nothing stopping, someone creating a party and running for it, right? Making a campaign. Especially if we do
Thomas says,
Sorry, go on.
Thomas says, and certainly something you could do with Mr. Kazire, Lord, I should say, Kazire, being on the council. You could introduce a motion to oust the Open Lord. It's what happened with Laurel. The Masked Lords removed Lord Daggelt Neverember from his position as Open Lord. Apparently, he squandered away a lot of money somewhere, and it was hidden in the city. About 1 million dragons or something, I believe. There was a small heist within the papers, and exiled him to Waterdeep. Not Waterdeep, Neverwinter, and installed Laurel in his place. And similarly with Laurel and Ranulf, for example, it's perfectly doable,
An excellent point. So the seat is out. Ranulf is cutting off his nose to spite his face by cutting off adventurers from Waterdeep.
That feels like reason enough that a bunch of very well-respected adventurers, because we're obviously not the only adventurers in Faerun, frankly, it's a starting point, and never mind if we expose Ranulf for the other things he's up to. I mean, frankly, if besmirching him is all you have to do to get the bastard de-elected or unelected, however you'd phrase that, there's plenty of other ways to get rid of him rather than just murdering him, I suppose.
Meanwhile, a large crowd of people have gathered in the town square.
Come one, come all, come to me with your issues, and I will solve them. For I, the great Kazire, can do most anything.
You begin hearing the equivalent of confessions and petitions. You act somewhere between a priest and Santa in hearing the concerns of everyone and promising or actually rectifying said concerns. You're attempting in this, I understand, to build some followers.
Yes. I'll be sort of telling them about my deeds, as well as trying to, if anyone has something that I can sort of help with, I'll be trying to sort that whilst I'm talking.
When's Kazire going to open an OnlyFans?
Recount a few of those deeds to the people.
Oh Christ! I overcame the literal darkness, and I now wear him in a little brooch right here. I helped defeat essentially a god who, granted he was a small boy, but also he had godlike powers, and we overcame that with the help of some friends, I might add. I have annihilated an entire world of evil giants on my own, again with the help from the small boy. But yes, I have done many a wonderful thing, and I'm now here to help you with your issues.
Sorry.
How big or small they may seem. Questions? Questions from the boy at the front row.
Was one of the things that Kazire just professed to committing genocide with a child?
Well, you know, they were trying to kill us, and they were evil. Technically, I didn't do that. I released a thing from a bottle, and then it killed everything. But you know those mind flares? Do you have those here? Do you have mind flares exist in Faerun?
Yeah.
Squid things with the tentacles. Yes, back in Adenvar we didn't have those because this guy. So no more brain sucking. Yeah, you can sleep soundly at night in Adenvar without the fear that your brain's gonna be sucked up through your nose.
Exactly how many genocides is Kazire responsible for?
Yeah, but Kazire's selling it in a way where it's like fun and relatable.
It's like a cool violation.
Yeah, it's like a cool thing. But he's also saying it's like a protection thing.
Make a charisma persuasion check.
Oh, charisma persuasion, my specialty. So I rolled a 2, so that's 27.
The crowds are in rapturous applause, listening to you, and you can feel, Kazire, as a god, you can feel that many hearts have opened and accepted you in as their Lord and Saviour.
Perfect. Now I'll ask the crowd, how do we feel about Waterdeep? Are we a fan of Waterdeep? Do we not like Waterdeep?
We hate them!
Oh, perfect.
It's like a football game.
Because do I have news for you? The open lord of Waterdeep, he is corrupt. He is selling their people short. And we can stage a revolution this day if you pick up your tools and follow me.
But our leaders are corrupt. We like that here.
No, you don't. Oh, my hands.
Make an Arcana check.
That's a natural 1.
For a total of?
5 for an Arcana check.
Okay. You feel that some of them now consider you to be some sort of Antichrist-like figure, here to promise them things bordering on the end of the world.
But surely if you like corruption, you will also sort of be on board with the end of the world as well. I'll put back to the crowd.
There is much muttering. They all turn together to converse together.
Yeah, I guess we do.
And then they turn around and say, "What's your point?"
My point is that, regardless of whether you think I'm good or bad, we don't like Waterdeep, do we? So let's go cause a kerfuffle in Waterdeep, pick up your things, come on, let's go.
How far are we from Waterdeep right now?
Very.
It's like 1,000 miles.
It's just like march them into the teleportation circle, then they appear in the Waterdeep and keep marching.
Yeah.
I mean, Kazire, you do have unrivaled godlike powers. Would you like to attempt any magic?
I'd like to try and open up a portal between here and wherever my temple is in Waterdeep.
Okay. Make an Arcana check.
Think about us lot in like the safe house, peering out the window, and be like, "What the fuck is he doing?"
That is a 17.
You open a portal.
Yes. I'd like to invite a couple of the people from the front row to go first, to go forward first.
Make a persuasion check.
That's a 5 on the dice, so that's a 27 again.
Oh my god.
They walk through.
Perfect. Do I hear any screams?
No.
What do you mean you hear any screams?
Okay, perfect. It's safe, everyone. Let's go. And then Kazire
Alright.
will go through on his griffin.
Okay. You go through the portal on your griffin and find yourself about 10 feet above your temple.
So they did scream because of the dead.
It's
Okay.
like lemmings.
Okay, I would like to cast Dimension Door, like as you exit the portal, 10 feet, so it goes, so you walk through and then you like walk on actual ground on the temple.
Yeah, okay, you can do that.
Perfect. That's a spell I actually have.
Now you're thinking with portals.
Somewhere.
Very nice.
Speedy thing goes in, speedy thing goes out.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, you start sending people through the portal, and some of the residents of Kalimport have now been magically transported inside of Waterdeep and are hanging out at your temple.
When you say some, how many is it? Because we need quite a few.
About 100 are making their way through the portal.
I'd like to fly back through on the Griffin and then gather the party members and be like, I found us a way to Waterdeep, perfectly incognito. I found some folks to come through as well. We could maybe cause some form of kerfuffle. Don't think about it, just come on.
I think in the moment, in the current headspace, Hal's gonna get up, brush himself off without really pausing, so yeah, fuck it, sounds good, let's roll.
Disguises.
Hang on,
Yes, you can wear whatever you'd like.
Let me put on my incredibly cunning disguise. 1 second. And I pull out of my bag just a pair of sunglasses. I put them on. I'm like, there we go. Perfect. No one will know it's me.
Do I have a way of disguising myself?
I have a disguise kit.
I can just turn okay, so Dan, can I turn invisible at will still, or is that locked off right now? It's an invocation.
You don't know, because you're still of the opinion that your patron is still alive and powering you. So would you like to attempt to?
Yeah, I'm gonna just turn invisible, because that's the thing I can do when things are good and normal.
Okay, you turn invisible.
Pog.
Thomas pulls Kazire aside as you come and gather the party and says, "Can I have a word?"
That's what the word is, but yes, you may.
I assume you're aware what happened to Silshard?
I had a feeling that a disturbance of that kind couldn't simply be that the party's feeling slightly sad, but yes, what exactly happened to him?
Howl summoned all of his patronal energy and accidentally killed him. It's unlikely that he'll be able to be brought back. I've begun to get some of my operatives as working with Mr. Eothar from the Harpers. You know him? The one that Howl fancies? Working together to attempt to find a way to bring Silshard back. But in the meantime, Kazire, don't tell Howl about Silshard. If you do, I can't guarantee that his mental state will survive being ripped away from his patron a second time. I don't mean that he'll be reduced to a blubbering mess of tears as he so often used to be before he became strong. I mean his very psyche may be ripped from his body.
Yeah, your secret's safe with me. However, Kazire will start to wonder about potentially replacing one patron with another.
All right.
Onwards, everyone.
Yeah, let's rock and roll.
All right. I think moving a large number of people from Kalimport to Waterdeep would be a good time in which we take our break slightly early. But I think this is a good point for us to have a little time just while the DM considers what happens when one city begins to invade another magically in the middle of the night.
I love that Kazire has turned up in the space of this has maybe been an hour in game or something, tops?
Yeah, if that.
Kazire has turned up, created a very, very angry mob, and has gone, yeah, let's just start a fucking riot in Waterdeep. Yeah.
So, whilst contemplating that, roleplay amongst yourselves. We'll be back in a little while. Keep an eye on the chat. And we're back. So, what's happening in Waterdeep? Describe to me, Kazire, what you're doing as you bring hundreds of people from Kalimport into Waterdeep.
Kazire is busy going to and fro in between the portal, flying on his griffin, He sort of flies into the portal to corral more people, to try and persuade more people to come back through the portal, and sort of talking to the crowd, building the crowd essentially inside this temple. How big is the temple, by the way?
Well, it's still a construction site, so it's quite spacious.
Well, open plan, that's all the rage these days. And Kazire will land and call out and say, is there a man by the name of John here?
A man walks into, comes out from behind a load of debris. This man has wild hair and a wild beard, and looks to be wearing hide armor made out of possibly camel hide.
Nicely. Kazire will just land his griffin in front of him and wait for him to talk.
He says, he points to you and turns to the crowd and says, "Behold, the one who has come to save us all."
Perfect. Thanks, John. So John
John comes up to you though and says, "Are you the one that we've been waiting for, or is there another to come?"
I am who I say. Fuck. I have to say, I've nailed it. So yeah, Kazire will. Yes, Kazire will confirm that he is in fact the one that John has been waiting for. And what is it you have been waiting for, John?
He says, "Someone to save this city."
Would the overthrow of a government do?
Can I?
Yes.
Yeah, being invisible, I was like, yes, you want to overthrow the government.
Whispering in his ear. Just feeding this man's delusions. Okay, John, seeing as you're the local here, what would you say would need to happen for us to overthrow the government?
Well, first of all of these people should walk through water.
This feels derivative.
Okay. Why, John?
Then they prove themselves to you.
Okay, Kazire will. Is there a nearby sink? Do you have sinks in Faerun?
Yeah, there is indoor plumbing.
How uncivilized do you think we are?
I don't know how high fantasy we are.
We actually all shit on the street in Waterdeep. Thank you.
Kazire will plug the sink and turn the tap on to wait for the sink to overflow. In such a way that it overflows through the center of the construction site, because obviously plumbing is the first thing that goes into a construction site, a fully working sink, and then he will call for his followers to cross over the water stream that he has created.
Oh,
Look, I create water.
Okay, they do so.
See, John? Not so hard, is it?
John appears to be snacking on some sort of insect.
Okay, John. So, bad news, John's insane.
John's one disciple short of a supper, you know what I'm saying?
What now, John? What next, seeing as you have all the answers?
He
He's trying to prove himself to this one guy. That's Kazire's character, I guess.
He says, "You could call down fire and brimstone from heaven to rain on the entire city."
Can I whisper into John's ear, "You mean just onto the open lord's quarters?" Still
He
invisible,
turns and looks at you and says, "I mean the entire city."
God.
Can
Right, so is it safe to assume that Kazire being like a god at this point, Kazire's got like true sight or something, right? Kazire can probably see Howl still. So the moment John starts saying, "I want to burn down the entire city," Howl's gonna be like,
Okay, moving swiftly on from John. Are there any other people in this temple that weren't here previously?
No. The party is of course now all gathered, so you could strategize together if you wished.
Is there any like builders around? Assume it'd be builders, right?
Not in the middle of the night, no.
Oh, it's the middle of the night. Perfect.
I for one, am shocked, I tell you, that Kazire's singular disciple was crazy.
Well, we'll see just how crazy you all are when Kazire amasses an even bigger following here.
Well, I mean, you have you've got a certified kerfuffle happening here.
We do.
And I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but we kind of need disguises as much as I hate to admit it. We were big public figures. We're gonna be recognized even if it's the middle of the night.
Personally, I'm invisible, so, you know.
Now, I know it sounds...
Foolproof disguise of sunglasses.
Now, I know it sounds tacky, but... We all got robes. We all got robes, right? Everyone's got robes.
I don't think Howl owns a single item of clothing that isn't, like, flashy as hell, bordering on slutty. So, like, you know...
Kazire will turn to the massive new followers and ask, has anyone got robes? Anyone got spare robes that you happen to have brought with you?
Just a huge cloak will do.
Just big old bit of fabric.
They collectively mumble together and mutter and can't find anything between them. But John points to a very large banner hanging from the temple opposite.
The temple opposite, you say?
There's a rival temple opposite?
What is the temple opposite?
The temple opposite is of Mystra, goddess of magic and the weave.
Sounds cringe to me. Tear that down.
Now, does anyone, before I do this, obviously I won't act on a minority, but does anyone have any qualms about me taking that?
Yes, it's not.
No!
Well, the majority have spoken. Off I go, and Kazire will hop back on his griffin, fly up, grab the banner, bring it down, and ask his followers to set about making some form of robe.
Now, Dan, I'm
the
not...
events of crisis. Isn't Mystra dead?
Even better, no consequences.
Isn't that sacrilegious as that's pretty sacrilegious, right? That's bad.
Not if another god does it, it's perfectly fine. They do it all the time.
You know what, fine.
Kazire will start ripping parts of fabric and forming makeshift cloaks.
Alright.
Onwards.
What do you do when you have the cloak?
Where is this open lord? John.
Wear a cloak.
The hood up.
John, do you happen to know where the open lord is?
It's a pretty big tower, right?
Because he will poke his head outside. Try and find
you can see that there is a huge castle on top of a small mountain overlooking the harbour.
Kazire will step outside, and seeing as we're not going for the stealthy route, because he's going to cast Thaumaturgy on himself and find some form of podium and start trying to whip up the crowd he's got. And
all across Waterdeep, there are giant statues that are rumoured to occasionally come alive to try to defend the city, but they're only rumours. But there is one nearby.
Okay.
Oh no.
How big is this statue?
Like 80, 100 feet.
Like kaiju type stuff, right? They're pretty big.
Yeah.
Kazire will whisper to himself, if only I brought my Volador with me. And he will... He'll go on with his plan. We'll handle that later. Kazire will cast on Thaumaturgy himself, and he'll stand on some form of podium and try and gather more people and surround the area, saying something to the extent of, "You see them up there living in their literal ivory towers. Do you think that's fair? Do you think we, as the common people, should put up with this? They can sit in here, make whatever rules they like, and we all have to suffer for it. Do we think that's fair?"
No!
I'm glad you agree, one man from the front row again.
It's John again.
I love you, random
Cheers.
citizen.
Cheers, John. And does Kazire see anyone from the surrounding houses come out?
There are lights, kind of like there are like lanterns coming on in windows and curtains being undrawn, and people beginning to kind of come out onto the streets to see what all the kerfuffle is.
As Kazire sees those sort of curtains open and the lights turn, he said, "See, we have illuminated their minds, and now they join the cause. Onwards we march to the Open Lord's castle."
As that's going down, we've got sending stones, right, to communicate with Cassius
Yes.
and
Yes.
the others. Am I right in saying that Oriana has those?
Yes.
Can I sort of sidle up to like Oriana, and as Kazire is causing a verified kerfuffle, whisper, "Hey, this might very quickly get out of hand. Might I suggest letting our friends know what's maybe about to go down if this ends in chaos?"
Probably a smart idea. I'll give it a shot. And we'll attempt to contact Cassius.
What do you say? Well, to be fair, it's just anything you can say whatever you want because you can just keep reusing it.
Hello. It's your favorite people. We're kinda causing more chaos. I say we. Kazire's back. He's gonna start a riot. In Waterdeep. We're here. In Waterdeep.
I feel like we've made
All
Ranulph's
the work,
adventurers cause chaos narrative.
all the
Really
work that Laxel went
We're
through to getting us out of
disguised,
war.
okay? It's not us. It's
No
Kazire.
one's going to recognize you in a crowd of hundreds of people.
This is an act of God at this point.
Kazire's taking it.
In-
It's a
Everyone's
divine act.
insurances.
In Castle... I nearly said Castle Ravenloft then. In Castle Waterdeep.
Yo, don't bring Strahd into the mix. Shit.
In Castle Waterdeep, in Ranulf Ilvaster's office, we see a hand attached to an arm on the ground,
What the what?
poking out from behind a sofa, clutching a sending stone that goes slack. The sending stone falls to the ground.
You shut your mouth.
A pair of someone walks over to this hand and this sending stone, bends down, picks up the sending stone, puts it to their ear, and listens to what Oriana has just said. None of you, of course, know that that's happened.
We just messed with Hal's head to make him not go absolutely off the rails, Dan.
I need to start watching what I'm saying.
Anyway, back to the crowd. Someone from the crowd stands on a rival podium and shouts down to the people, "He's not the saviour. He's a very naughty tiefling."
Who said because they were whip rep? Who said that? Who is that?
Who's heckling me?
It's
There's
John.
someone standing. There's someone standing on a podium on the other side of the square.
And who do you think you are?
Servant of Mistra.
Ooh.
Haven't you heard the news? Mr.
What news?
Mr. is long dead.
There's a collective gasp from the crowd.
And if you are now, I imagine, going through your head and thinking, oh, what does this mean for me? How does my day-to-day life change? Oh, who's going to look after the kids? This guy. This guy got all your solutions, all those problems. Bye-bye. Follow me. I promise you, good times ahead.
Make a charisma persuasion check.
Is there any chance I could help out Kazir with this one by whispering things amongst the crowd, such as, I heard Kazire's ripped, I heard Kazire has an 8-pack, things like that.
Yeah, Kazire, you may roll with advantage.
Oh, that's perfect advantage. Thank you, I need that. Here we go. Okay, a 16, so now I should do maths. Rather than just saying 27.
It's above 27, though, right?
Yeah, it's above 27. It's going to be 33.
Respectable 33.
Respectable 33.
Because you can tell that around 400 souls have just let you into their hearts.
Oh my god.
Perfection. Kazire will gesture onwards and will lead the charge to the Open Lord's Tower.
At what point do we mess up Faerun that bad we have to move to Adavar?
And you're not far off.
No.
So, what you see, party of heroes, as you're going, you watch this crowd of people surging towards the castle. You see that leading the charge is a familiar face, clutching a pitchfork. Benson. Tears running down his face, shouting, "For Harold! For Oriana! For Alec! For Génie! For Silshard!"
No.
That's my boy. I'll swing over, pat him on the back. Divine touch. As a Masked Lord, is there a way to call an emergency meeting?
Yes.
Can I call an emergency meeting?
Yes. So you just have to walk into the chamber
How would you do that?
and declare that you wish to call an emergency meeting, and the clerk will summon the Masked Lords.
Okay, I'd like to do that, please.
Okay. So
Can we go
whilst
with,
what? You are allowed to bring retainers with you.
I would like to bring retainers with me, but I'll make you all invisible because I can do that.
Make an Arcana check.
I literally can do that. I have this spell and a lot of spell slots.
Smash cut to Génie making garlic bread still, missing the fuck out.
Génie's listening to music in the kitchen back in Kalimport. But he does at one point, kind of as he's finished rolling another baguette, he walks into the he walks into the sitting room and goes, "Where is everyone?" And Thomas Blackwood, who is sat there drinking a cup of coffee, says, "Génie, they've gone to do something incredibly stupid." Génie replies, "Oh, the usual Monday evening," and he walks back into the kitchen.
Yeah, because they would like to go and call an emergency meeting of the Masked Lords. I'm assuming the rest of the Masked Lords, it won't take them long to get there because there is a riot going on.
So, it takes you a little while to find the council chamber of the Masked Lords. But you garb yourself as a Masked Lord and you enter, demanding. What do you say to the clerk who is sat at a table?
Have you not seen what's happening outside? We need a meeting right this second.
The clerk gets up, looks out of the window, panics, and then you see is beginning to cast a very large group sending spell. And the clerk says, "Through that door there, of course, my lord." And a door swings open into the big council chamber.
They will head through and find a seat front and centre and await the other Masked Lords.
Okay.
Are we able to be basically just around Kazire, like as retainers?
You can go in the public gallery at the top. Well,
I've made you all invisible.
Sure.
You're all invisible, so you can just stand wherever you want.
But don't we know from shenanigans at a previous day though that isn't there some magical kind of barrier, right? Wouldn't we get caught out by life with that?
On the floor, yeah. So on the, you wouldn't be able to get onto the bit where you can speak, like the floor in the centre. Imagine like the Roman Senate, kind of where it's kind of, it all kind of converges around a particular floor,
like in Star Wars.
Yes, you wouldn't be able to get in the middle, but you can walk around the edges.
Can I start throwing bits of the place around like Yoda in that one scene? Not right now, but in theory.
You can. You also realise that you're unable to speak whilst you're in here.
If we all clock that, can I kind of like shoot a look at Alec, kind of as if to say, "We can't speak." Wink, wink.
Mm-hmm.
Alec has
10 minutes.
Can Alec see you?
Oh god.
If we're all invisible, then Alec's got true sight,
Yes,
right?
true sight. I just need to check some spell components.
But I suppose that means that I wouldn't be able to see Alex. I'm probably just invisible.
Yeah, you can't see
looking
Alec,
around going,
So weird.
I'm like, I know there's somebody who could do something
Whereas
better.
telepathic bond has verbal components. I can't cast it.
Cringe.
Never mind.
Well,
Alec does this gesture to no one in particular.
I can't see that.
A door opens in the other side of the wall, and 30 masked lords all enter the room.
How many do I need for a majority?
Technically, just 2. The rules are very lax.
Wait.
The most masked lords that usually attend the meetings, you were told in your early briefing with Laurel when you first became a masked lord, the most they've ever had is 17 in a room at any one time.
Whoa, so this is like a huge deal.
No one knows how many masked lords there are. It is estimated that there are upwards of 100.
And the city is in riot, and 30 of them arrive.
Yes.
Perfect. So I need to convince one person of whatever it is I want to do.
No, you would now that there's a majority. Now that there's 30, you would need a majority. Okay. You can have you can meet in as long as you are meeting in this chamber with 2 or more masked lords. Then it is a valid meeting. But now that there are 31 of you, you would need to convince 15 people to vote with you.
Easy.
There's no quorum for minimum attendance before it's a valid meeting.
That seems not good. Okay, Kazire will stand front and center, obviously in mask robe garb, so no one knows it's him. And he will say...
Kazire's gonna fuck up our dimension.
No, Kazire was gonna help you. Watch. You see the people are on the street, the people are rioting, and who can blame them? Sorry, what was that?
I was going to say the staff does change your voice as well. So
Well, good thing we're imagining things, eh? It speaks with a really northern accent all of a sudden, which I'm not going to do, so I don't want to offend anyone. The people on the streets are rioting, and the Open Lord, where is he? Currently sat in his tower, I presume. This is just one thing after another with him, really. First, he cuts adventurers, and that takes most of our income away from us. Why do you think the people are rioting? I mean, they know for a fact that they're going to lose their livelihoods out of this. It seems that he's just cutting his nose off to spite his face. And I think it's about time that someone stands up and does something about it. And I vote here that we get rid of the current Open Lord and we instill someone else. It's been done before, and I think, granted, this is a much more dire circumstance.
one of the masked lords gets up to speak and says, in a heavily disguised voice, "We've already removed one Open Lord within the last few months. It would look imprudent to remove another. Removing one masked lord could be seen as an act of organization. To lose 2 would be plainly careless. I say we leave Ranulf in post, and we take matters into our own hands and override the power of the Open Lord and seize power entirely with a series of emergency measures to quell this riot."
By emergency measures, what would you suppose?
"We take over the watchful order of Magus and Protectors and all of the city guard and instruct them to put down this riot and whomever is behind it."
Now, I don't think you can necessarily blame the people for this act of
Why not? They're literally revolting.
Now that's very rude. Can you blame them though? They're constantly oppressed by these new regime orders, and most of them will lose their livelihoods. Adventurers being banned from the city. I think if we get rid of that rule, I think hopefully they will sort of help them out.
One of the other Mass Lords says, "The people are there to provide us with money, not the other way around."
But you won't have any more money if there are no more people. You put this revolt down. What happens when the next one rises up twice as strong?
And the third Mass Lord steps forward and says, "Why are you so keen on removing Ranulf Ilvaster in the midst of what appears to be a rather large emergency?"
You said it yourself. I worry about my money just as much as the next person. Currently, Ranulf's policies are putting it so that we're about to lose a large sum. Most of our business relies on these adventurers.
The first Mass Lord says, "It seems to me as though you're attempting to sway the council before the measures are even formally put to us. Some might describe that as a coup d'etat, to use Elvish."
Good Elvish, well done. Not necessarily. I think if we've already seen the effects that these sort of presumed laws would bring about. I mean, look outside currently. The people are rioting. What do you think will happen when these effects actually become law? I think it will go from bad to worse.
There is an explosion.
Well, shit.
Can we see the source of that, at all, or is that outside?
No, but it rocks the chamber.
Am I able to slip out and check out what that was real quick? Yep. I want to slip out and check it out.
Okay. You look over at Castle Waterdeep and see that one of the towers is missing.
Oh, is it the one that Ranulf is in? By any chance?
It's not, no.
Shame. Do I recognise what room that would be? In theory.
Yes. The Harper's head office.
That's probably not good. Okay. Right. Is anyone on the street, because obviously I'm outside of the room now, I assume I can hear people speaking. Is anyone on the street who is chatting, about what's just happened? Are there any, audible reaction to that?
The audible reaction from the crowd is one of surprise, and they all run for cover as masonry begins raining down on the city.
Can I see any source of that? Anywhere? Has it been struck by something from outside, or is it an internal explosion?
You could make an investigation check.
I would love to. Which is a 10.
No, there's no obvious cause, except that given that masonry is all raining out, you think the explosion may have come from inside.
Okay. Shit, there's no way of communicating with people who are still inside. Okay.
You see that the rioters have begun to engage with the city guard, who are trying to stop them from advancing too much further.
How far away is that tower from where I am currently?
A couple 100 feet.
Couple of 100, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to, still invisible obviously, as fast as I physically can, I want to head in that direction. How high up do you think it is?
150 to 200 feet? Well, it was.
Yeah. I want to try, this is going to get really silly. I want to try running as close as I can, closing the distance as much as I can, and then I want to cast Far Step, and basically teleport myself 60 feet at a time, using my bonus action to teleport again on each subsequent turn. So in theory, I could basically get next to the tower, go up, teleport, fall a bit, teleport again, and so on and so forth.
Yep.
Cool.
To arrive at the top of the tower? Or what's left of it?
Yeah, I want to scale that bad boy.
When you arrive at the top of the tower, you see that there is almost kind of nothing left of the lower few floors of, the upper few floors of this tower, just beneath the roof. The whole place seems to have been consumed by what you recognise as being kind of fireball spell level explosions that have kind of gutted the tower. There isn't really much more you can tell, except there doesn't appear to be any people here. There's no remains.
No visible remains. Does it seem like the fireball is comparable to what destroyed Genie's lamp, like delayed fireball?
Yes.
Okay. I know that when there was delayed fireball in Genie's lamp, there was a physical object that was basically left there as a sort of explosive to time that and let that explode. Can I find anything, knowing that matches with that description?
Make a investigation or perception check.
I am going with investigation. It's a low roll. That is a 7.
You don't find anything that would indicate that it's a delayed blast fireball. You don't find one of the spheres. You don't find a trigger or anything like that.
Okay. How close to this tower are the other towers? Like, does it look like someone could have cast something from another tower at this tower?
No, there isn't really anything kind of immediately within range, but it's certainly a possibility. As in, kind of, with an extended spell or something like that. It's possible, but improbable.
Okay. In that case, then, I want to, if I can't find any significant evidence or anything like that right now, I want to go from the top part downward into the tower and try and find any people who were in the tower at the time of the explosion.
The tower is entirely empty.
Okay. Like all of it, because it's a fairly significant, the Harper's Tower is a fairly significant thing, right?
Yeah, there are no people on this floor, and you open doors and go down onto the floor beneath. There's no one. Okay.
Man, I really wish Génie was here so I could communicate with the other Harpers. Do I have a way of getting in contact with Cassius? I am not convinced that I do. That's very frustrating. Okay, in that case then, I'm going to go down the tower and start making my way back to the rest of the party.
Okay, yeah. During that time, there has been more debate in the council chamber, but they have accepted that, Kazire, you are entitled to put a resolution forward and that they have to vote on it. And you're called to give your final address.
I think we, as Master Lords, it seems that so far the people that have spoken, their largest concern is their money rather than the welfare of the people that we are here to represent. And on both sides, if you care more for the people, you really need to overrule this preposterous Open Lord currently, who seems fit to just get rid of everything that Waterdeep stands for. Waterdeep for years has been this hub of adventuring. People come from far and wide learning about the great deeds that have been performed here, the great adventurers that have come here. Our tourism will take a hit, our general welfare will take a hit, and our general business will also take a hit. But if you only care for your money, realistically also you need to get rid of this Open Lord. And why wait until he starts putting forward his resolutions about gutting adventuring here in the city? If you care for Waterdeep, and either you care for your money or the people here as well, you really need to get rid of this current Open Lord, for he doesn't speak for the rest of us.
They begin voting. The voting is done magically, and it can take up to 20 minutes for the votes to be kind of fully cast and counted. There are two kind of like almost like hourglasses, but they don't kind of curve in, so they're kind of just like just like large tubes. And you can see that coloured balls begin to appear in each one. One being green and one being red. They very slowly kind of begin to appear. It begins with several no's and one yes, and then the voting slows down a bit, and a few more yeses are added. What are Oriana and Alec doing whilst this is going on?
There probably wouldn't be much need for Oriana to stick around too much, given that the voting is commencing, there's nothing happening. So she'd probably kind of like sneak outside of the chamber and just kind of keep watching the halls, see if like what business is like currently, whether it's busy, if it's quiet, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just see how the entire building is reacting to the riot.
There appears to be quiet in this part of the building. You reckon that people have either evacuated or run away. There are like desks that have been left abandoned. It was the middle of the night, kind of. There were very few people working, but there's always someone working in Waterdeep. People have fled, have run away. You catch a glimpse of someone rounding a corner a little further away from you.
What do they look like? Do I recognize them?
You think you do, but you only saw them momentarily, but you think they look familiar.
I will cast a glance at the door to the chamber for thinking, I've got 20 minutes, and I will follow after as quietly as I can.
Okay, make a stealth check.
You have advantage because you're invisible.
That's a 35.
Okay, you very stealthily, very nice. You very stealthily make your way around the corner that you saw this figure disappear past and see a very long corridor with no one in it.
I'll continue having a little wander, like peeking in through doorways here and there just to see if I can figure out where they went.
You do so, and you open one doorway, and it's a bathroom, and you open it and are facing a mirror. When you open the door and look into the mirror, you see your reflection, and you see someone standing behind you.
I'm dipping. Face that fucker out of there. Just immediate. No.
You
Gone.
okay? Okay. Once you have face stepped away, make a perception check to see if you recognised the face.
31.
Say again.
31.
It was Sam's face.
Ah. Shit. Oriana's kind of like just gonna stand there for a moment, just shell shocked, just kind of like, huh? And will make her way back to see if it happens again.
Okay, you round the corner, the door is already open. Yeah, the door is already open. When you turn and face the mirror, as soon as you turn fully on to face the mirror, Sam appears behind you.
If I turn around,
in the
he's
reflection.
still there.
If you turn around, he's not there.
Oriana, like, can I do a quick scout, see if I can hear anybody else nearby?
Yeah, you make a quick perception check. You do not believe that there is anyone else around you.
Cool. Oriana's just gonna kind of... This entire time she's been very tense, very nervous, like, strict posture kind of thing. And given that she finally has a moment to herself, while also being able to see Sam, she's just gonna kind of like melt a little bit her usual stoic expression just kind of fading away to one of sadness. She doesn't say anything, she's just kind of looking in the mirror, trying to commit Sam's face to her memory once again.
He seems to react to you and looks very sympathetic and concerned.
You're not here. I know you're not.
He doesn't respond to your voice.
Been too long. I'm starting to forget your face, you know. Memories are fading. It's not something I particularly enjoy, but you are gone, and I'm still here.
He maintains the sympathetic expression, and you see a tear begin to well in his eye.
Oh, this is a cruel, cruel trick. I hate to see you sad like this, but I'm afraid there is nothing I can do to change that anymore. I remember when you found your first dog. You were so happy. It's a change. Things were quiet in your life, but you were so happy with that little thing. Hell, it was so long ago I can barely remember what it was like.
Oriana pulls out a sippy cup and
Just pulls out a glass of wine like, ah yes, this is fine.
yeah.
She will step closer to the mirror. She doesn't really want to look away from Sam, but at the same time, she needs to know why she is seeing him in this mirror, if it's some kind of enchanted mirror, or if it's just a plain old mirror and she's going crazy.
Do you want to check the mirror?
Yes, please.
Okay, you can either make an Arcana check if you want to see if it's magical, or you can make an investigation check to learn more about the object.
Go investigation. It's a 14.
Okay. Most of the mirrors, particularly all the ones in Génie's lamp, are polished brass or glass, sort of, kind of just polished up to a sheen. Sorry, not glass. Silver polished up to a sheen, kind of very shiny. This appears to be actual glass that has been backed with something. Kind of, you look at it and you can see like flecks of a metal, a metal coating on the back of the glass as it hangs on the wall, that seems to glitter like starlight. And you think that this mirror must be backed. It's a very posh mirror. It is glass that is being covered with some sort of chemical compound that includes a metal that appears to react like starlight.
Interesting. It's a fancy-ass mirror you've chosen for yourself, Sam. Is there anything else in the room at all?
It's a bathroom, so everything you would expect to find in a bathroom.
Cool. Oriana will kind of like look around the room like, yeah, no, this is plain bathroom, before looking back at the mirror. Back at Sam. Every time I have seen you, you have pointed me towards something that will help us. You did it with the book. What is it that you're trying to do now?
He holds up in the air. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a key. and goes to kind of mimic unlocking a door.
So there's a door I need to unlock. And it's got something to do with in here.
You see him kind of step to one side, as though kind of if he was physically there and you were looking at him, he would be stepping aside to let you pass through back out the way you came. But this is in the reflection, obviously.
Okay. So there's a door back out in the hallway that I need to unlock. I don't have a key. I don't need a key. Why not? I will leave the bathroom, casting one last look at Sam, desperately trying to commit every single detail to memory before heading back out into the hallway to find a locked door.
Okay. The doors on this corridor are unlocked, so you double back and make your way back round the corner towards the meeting room with the intention of looking for further locked doors. What's Alec been doing during all of this?
I mean, seeing both Oriana and Hal leave, because I have true sight, and seeing the direction that the vote is clearly going, Alec's going to do that. You know when you're watching like election coverage and you know how it's going to go, but you're still like angry that it's going that way? He does that, like kind of walk out, he kind of looks around like, oh, the others have disappeared. Looks up in the vague direction the explosion came from. It's more than 120 feet away. He can't see it. So kind of just like stood, I guess, waiting for the others to come back.
And Oriana rounds the corner kind of on her way back after 10 minutes or so. Kazire, the final votes are tallied. And I've just sent you the message with the final result. Oriana, Alec, and Hal, when you all eventually reconvene, you see all of the Masked Lords leaving the chamber in various directions, and one of the Masked Lords approaching you all, which, given you're invisible, you're confident that it must be Kazire.
Kazire will gesture with his staff that he has for the Masked Lords, sort of into a nearby office. I don't know what that layout is. It's a nearby room. And he will check that no one is watching, gets a sense that no one's watching. And he'll sort of take off the disguise, sort of melt away. And he'll say to them, well, it's done. Well, the verdict is that you need to find yourselves a new Open Lord.
Wait,
what?
He's looking very smug with himself.
With all due respect, last time I checked, that didn't seem like it was going to. How?
You know, they say you never leave the game 5 minutes before. That's the reason why. A lot of people convinced at the end.
What else did you say to them?
I didn't say anything. It just took a while to figure out what it is they wanted for the city.
I suppose that's divine intervention for you. Please don't let it go to your head any further than it evidently has.
You're probably too late in saying that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, seems like we have a riot to quell now, though.
I mean, not to say words, but if we've just lost an Open Lord, this would be a really great opportunity for us to turn up as ourselves, quell the riot by promising we're going to do something about it and put ourselves in a really good public standing for an election campaign.
Perfect. I have just the idea.
Although we did still, the whole of Waterdeep does believe we just tried to kill the last Open Lord.
Yeah, I can't make myself known.
Yeah, also incumbent Open Lord. He's still technically in power, right?
Okay,
I don't know how
fair
politics
enough.
works in Waterdeep.
I do also have a room.
Kazire?
Mm-hmm.
You start to vibrate.
Oh my god.
Oh no!
Oh boy.
Kazire's getting a text.
Whole body text.
You know that this is the sign that the multiverse is beginning to... it's not happy that someone that vibrates at a different quantum frequency is spending so much time on this world. And it's beginning to let you know that you need to make a return to your own world.
I really need to work on that. Because it takes a little notebook out and puts it on his own. He makes a new to-do list and fix quantum vibrations. And he'll say to the party, if you can somehow quell that riot without smearing my good name, of course, I think you might be. Well, you can figure out a way to do it. And just before he hands a very large sack of gold to. No, he realizes the company he keeps. He'd like to very quickly get back on his griffin, fly out, dump the gold with the construction, in the donations box for the construction site, and then fly back around. And he'll say, I've done my part. It's up to you now. And he'll turn to Hal and he'll say, you see, here's one more person that believes in you. And if you ever need something to believe in, just remember what we've done here today.
That's genuinely very touching to Hal. Obviously, because he's majestic flying off on a griffin at that point. Hal's gonna kind of look up and say,
Oh no, because Kazire's come back, dropped the money off, and has come back, and he's standing in front of you.
Oh right, okay. In that case, then Hal say, "That's probably the most sincere thing you've ever said to me."
I do care. I might act like I don't, and I'm above it all, but I do care, and we fought a world-ending event together. Of course I care.
Hal will grin and say, yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, better the devil you know, right? Or God.
And someone who can persuade a large amount of people to do whatever it is you need can always be a decent ally.
Oh, yeah, I mean, inciting a riot and deposing the Open Lord, who was kind of a bit of a wanker, really, was pretty useful, so yeah, thanks. For what it's worth, I hope things turn out better for you on Adavar.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. He'll turn to Oriana, and from within his pamphlet, his binder, he'll pull out a photo of of Sam finding his first dog, and he'll pass it over to Oriana, and he'll say, "You see, I'm not all bad. I might be busy, but I always listen. Just know that wherever you are, I can tell if you're having a hard time, and there's always someone there listening."
Oriana will genuinely be speechless. Just holding the photo I can't break my mask. I have to stay strong. Just not saying a word.
And then Kazire will turn to Alec, and he'll go, "Alec?" And he'll nod and walk back through the portal.
Yeah. If you see Ma, tell her she's still not forgiven for what she did to my timeline.
I'll pass it on.
Amazing.
And with Kazire walking through a crack in the fabric of reality, and that crack sealing up with a flash of marvellous blue light, that brings us to the end of our Epiphany adventure this evening. We leave our heroes with 1 week until 7:30 next Monday evening to work out how they're going to quell a riot and take over a city. In the meantime, we may have some other streams going on, so do have a look at our social medias. All of the links and indeed the schedule to all of our streams are in the panel below and linked on in the video description for this VOD if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you all very much, heroes.
If you've killed my character's boyfriend, we're going to have some serious words off camera, Dan.
Well, on that note, thank you very much, Josh, for being with us this evening. It's much appreciated to have you and to have Kazire in the party. But that's where we're going to wrap up. So thank you all. Have very good evenings. We'll see people next week.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye. Bye.